Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause I'm not gonna have Metro S550s cruising. Like you winning on it.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. Speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off of your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but you better go ahead, create an account, and use this promo code, man. Save yourself $20 off a ticket, concert, NBA game, whatever the case is, where you can buy tickets. You need to go ahead and use it. So another thing, let's jump into some of these games too, because we know who the Super Bowl matchup will be between. We have unfortunately, we have the New England Patriots playing the Seattle Seahawks. Cool. What a fun matchup between these two teams. I'm excited to watch this. I think it'll be great football. But before I talk about the Super Bowl matchup, I kind of want to save all of that drama of the Super Bowl preview and everything until we get a little bit closer. I do have my predictions on who will win, which I think is the Seahawks. I'm not even going to hide that fact. But let's kind of revert back to the game that led the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. And this was this Broncos versus Patriots matchup. Now, this is the first time the Patriots have ever won a playoff game in Denver. Now, they just recently beat the Denver Broncos in Denver, which is very difficult to do. They won 10-7. And the Patriots will now advance to the Super Bowl. So on a serious note, man, congrats to the Patriots. Like, for real, seriously. I know I do a lot of hating on the Patriots, but seriously, man, this is a very difficult thing to do. And for a lot of people who sit here and say, oh, well, the Patriots had an easy road to the Super Bowl. They had the easiest schedule in the regular season. They didn't play any competition in the playoffs. This is true, but you got to keep in mind to an extent. Like, this is only true to an extent because the Patriots did go against 3 top 5 defenses in the postseason, and I understand the issues that these teams were having on the offensive end, and they struggled, but it still takes a lot to be able to win these ball games in the playoffs. And you can't really just discredit that, man. Winning ball games is difficult to do in the NFL, and they happened to do that all regular season, and they ended up continuing to do that in the postseason. So it's not like the Patriots handpicked their opponent each time. They wasn't ducking competition. They weren't losing games on purpose, trying to fall below or above a certain threshold so they can get home field. They didn't do none of that stuff, man. They played whoever was in front of them, and they ended up winning the game. So unfortunately, the New England Patriots, they did take care of business just enough where now they can go to the Super Bowl. But one of the things that kind of make me watching the Patriots, I'll put it this way, watching the Patriots week in and week out for these past couple of weeks and also throughout the course of the regular season, I didn't watch them as intensely during the regular season, and I have no reason to sit here and tell a lie about that. They weren't my first watch in breaking news for me. However, at least seeing what they've been like all season, regular season and in the postseason, this New England Patriots team this year specifically really reminds me of the San Antonio Spurs. And honestly, you could compare dynasties if you really want to in terms of the Patriots' history being very similar to the San Antonio Spurs history. But in particular, this particular Patriots team reminds me of those early 2000s San Antonio Spurs teams where there's not a bunch of flash. They're not overwowing people with talent and crazy stardom on the team. They're not just exploding on teams for a crazy amount of points and all kind of things like that. No. This is not what we're getting at all. We're getting basic fundamental football. This is a team, they run the ball very well. They call great plays, and they have great play calling as well, and they manage the clock very well. They do the small things on the offensive side of the ball very well in terms of picking up blocks, making the correct throw, hence praising Drake May. I want to give him his credit. He does do a good job at listening to his coaches and whatever they're asking him to do, whether that be pick up the first down with your legs, throw it away, whether that means throw it to this receiver, drop it to the running back, or take the sack. You got to give them credit, man. This is a team. They're not the most exciting to watch, but they do all the little things really good. And this is why they've been winning games, because when you look at from the offensive end, head to toe, of the small things they do, they don't make a lot of mistakes. They block very well. Drake May is very decisive in his decision making, and he listens to the coaches, whatever they're telling him to do, whether that's throw it out of bounds, take the sack, or just run with your legs. And then on the defensive end, this team is good at stopping the run. They're good at getting pass breakups. They don't get a lot of penalties on defense. The special teams is good. They make their field goals. They block punts. They block for their kicker all the time. Like, they do a lot of the small things really well. And they play good fundamental football, which reminds me of a team in the NBA that's very boring for playing good fundamental basketball, but it works. It works in a sense. And with the Patriots doing this pretty much all year long, and definitely in the playoffs where they're not wowing you with high scoring games or these crazy intense plays, it really does says a lot about how good this team is, because that's not easy to do, man. To be a disciplined person or a disciplined team is not easy at all. So I want to give the Patriots their credit in that instance, but I still don't like them. Whatever. I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of them. I'm not happy that they're going to the Super Bowl. It is what it is. I think they'll put on a good game. And one of the reasons this game was so low, it was a 10-7 game. Drake May, who's an MVP candidate, finished the game with literally, I think, 86 yards. 86 yards to go to the Super Bowl. Got it done. And obviously, I wanted to praise the Patriots. So, look, before anybody start calling me a hater and saying, oh, well, you just really don't like the Patriots. Yes, this is true to an extent, but I really want to put all the biases aside, and I don't want to sit here and spit this information based on my dislikes for the Patriots. Just genuinely, man, Drake May has not played the best all playoffs, man. I understand he's thrown touchdown passes and he's done great things at times, but this is not an exciting team or an exciting stretch where I'm excited at watching him doing his job at quarterback. I'm just saying, man, like, not to take anything away from him. I think he's been amazing all year, but I'm looking at just some of the statistics for it. Obviously, the man has given up, or the line, the Patriots offensive line and Drake May has taken 5 sacks in each playoff game. He's taken 5 sacks in each playoff game. Not good at all. You look at all of his percentages. He hasn't thrown above 60%, hasn't completed 60% of his passes in the playoffs. Granted, these are some extremely elite defenses here. So the lower threshold of quarterback play from Drake May does make a little bit more sense. Broncos, top tier defense. Texans, top tier defense. Chargers, top tier defense. And now he's going against the Seahawks, who's a top tier defense. So he's had his hands full in terms of trying to get busy on the offensive end. But I just haven't been impressed with Drake May. And I know, look, the snow game, I'll give him a pass here because it's 86 yards. However, I would be unfair to say that, yes, Drake May gets a pass for playing in the snow and only throwing 86 yards. It was a blizzard, whatever. However, man, I've seen quarterbacks make it work. I've seen Matthew Stafford just last year make it work. I've seen Josh Allen playing freezing cold in a snowstorm and make it work, give you multiple touchdown passes and more than 86 yards. I'm just saying, I've seen it happen, and he's not the only quarterback who has played bad in a snow game, but at the same time, when we're talking about, oh, this guy's the next level Tom Brady, like some people were saying, and oh, he's going to lead the Patriots to another 4 or 5 Super Bowls. I just don't know, man. I think we got to slow the road just a little bit. And those type of comments are what truly makes me, like, that just makes me pull out the little hating side just a little bit, man, because this is nuts. And then the snow game, let's just be honest for a second, man. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please, can we just be honest about snow games? Like, why we got to sit here and act like snow games are the best in the world and the most entertaining thing in the world? Let's be honest about these snow games. They suck. The atmosphere looks great and the aesthetic looks great on TV and while you're there. But let's be honest, bro. The quality of play, the quality of football is terrible during these blizzard games and during these snow games. So I might be in a minority here, but I'm really okay with a lot of teams and a lot of stadiums building a roof that opens and closes or just an indoor field. I'm okay with that because these snow games suck, bro. Like, they're not entertaining at all. And if you thought that was entertaining, if you thought the Patriots doing a 3 and out and on third down, intentionally throwing it out of bounds so the defense can come win a game, I don't know what to tell you, man. That wasn't interesting for me. That wasn't good quality football when you know all the offense can do is run the ball because you can't see 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. Like, it's not good quality football to me. And I think we just got to be honest about it, man. I know people going to cry and complain and say, oh, this is what we're missing. This is what we're getting rid of with all these indoor fields and all these indoor stadiums. Yes, I understand this is what we're getting rid of, but I personally would be very much okay with a lot of stadiums going indoor and watching good quality football than watching that BS that we just seen from the Patriots and the Broncos in the second half of a playoff game. I don't want to see nothing like that in the playoff game. Are you kidding me? Like, let's just be honest about it, man. And you know, and it is what it is. It's not the first one, and it won't be the last for a good handful of time. But we can't just keep sitting here and acting like, oh, the snow game. This is amazing. This is football weather. It's silly. It's silly. It's silly, man. That ain't no damn football weather. that ain't football weather, man. Like, nah, I'm just not going for it. I'm not going for it, man. A blizzard where you can't see downfield, that ain't football weather. I'm not going for that. Anyway, look, man, the Rams had a great game too. So we'll talk about the Rams in just a little bit as well. The Rams and Seahawks matchup for the NFC Championship. And also, too, we got a little bit of updates on the news and everything happening there. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. We'll get you all that information in just a sec. But until then, it is halftime. All right, man, let's get into it. I appreciate you tuning in to The Run. Hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And, of course, we will play your take back on the next episode. I will play it up, just let us know. You got a quick take? You want to chime in on a conversation? Whatever the case is, let us know. But we got some news here, too. So let's jump into the updates of the coaching landscape in the NFL. Obviously, I'm just going to read the list of all the coaches who were granted a job and who were fired and things like that, or coaches that may have been fired, but now they have a job. So Steelers, they recently picked up Mike McCarthy as their head coach, went from Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy. Now, let it be known, Mike Tomlin was not fired. He decided he was going to step down after the season once they were eliminated. And then from there, the Steelers went to hire Mike McCarthy. He formerly coached as the Green Bay Packers head coach, won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and also coached the Dallas Cowboys for some time, got the Cowboys to the playoffs. I thought he's a pretty solid coach. So Steelers fans might find this a little bit annoying because you go from Tomlin to Mike McCarthy, almost same thing. You might hurt the messenger, but the message still lives on. So we'll see what the Steelers do. I think it's honestly still a solid hire. It's just very similar to Tomlin. Other than that, the Baltimore Ravens, they hired Jesse Minter from the Los Angeles Chargers, I believe it was, the defensive coordinator. The New York Giants, they hired John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh was coaching with the Baltimore Ravens. He recently was fired, and the Giants picked him up. The Falcons, they hired Kevin Stefanski, the coach of the Cleveland Browns, who was fired after the season. Now the Falcons have him. The Miami Dolphins, they hired Jeff Hafley. Not too familiar with Jeff Hafley's game, but I mean, hey, he's getting a shot as a head coach, so credit to him with the Miami Dolphins. The Tennessee Titans, they did hire Robert Saleh. He formerly coached the New York Jets at a time. I think it was just last year, actually, before Aaron Glenn got there. He was the coach of the New York Jets, but they did fire him, and he's a great defensive mind, coach with the 49ers for the defensive side of that. And I mean, definitely very, very solid leader. And I mean, hey, I'm excited for him taking that role with the Titans. Something that will be interesting too, aside from the Titans, you have another hire, not a head coach hire, but a very much anticipated hire with the LA Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers, they recently hired Mike McDaniel. Now, this is pretty much all but final. We're just waiting for everything to get signed on the dotted line per reports, is what they're saying. But Mike McDaniel will be brought in as an offensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. So this is going to be really good for them, because now Justin Herbert gets to play with a competent play caller. And I mean, yeah, this could get scary. I mean, we might see a completely new Chargers team under Mike McDaniel's creativity. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Another team that still needs an offensive coordinator, but I'm having some trouble finding one. And I don't know, it could have changed by now, but the Philadelphia Eagles were looking for an offensive coordinator. And maybe it's changed by the time you hear this, maybe it hasn't. But last I checked, they still are in search of an offensive coordinator. And the reports were coming out that that position for the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator is not a very much desired position. A lot of people don't like the fact that the locker room is in two pieces right now. A lot of beef going on with the players. You got a lot of guys on expiring contracts that are going to test free agency, so you don't know who will be coming back. Players might get traded, hence A.J. Brown. Also, Philly just being a very tough atmosphere to coach in and win in, meaning the home fans will boo you and egg your house, similar to how they did the previous offensive coordinator. So it's a very undesirable position right now, but I'm sure someone is going to take that role, because if you thrive in that position, you are almost pretty much guaranteed another opportunity elsewhere in the NFL, whether that's your same coordinator position or possibly a head coach role. So we will see what happens with the Philadelphia Eagles. Other than that, you have the Buffalo Bills. They recently fired Sean McDermott. They still don't have a head coach to fill the role, but Sean McDermott is out there. And the Browns are also in the running for a head coach role right now. Now, a lot of people, which is weird, I seen the first person, I don't remember who the first candidate was that withdrew their name from the Cleveland Browns. But at this point, we've seen multiple candidates withdraw their name from the Cleveland Browns. And as they're doing this, we see multiple reports that are saying the Cleveland Browns are requiring people to write essays and fill out long questionnaires and just go through an extensive process of interviewing for a head coach position that is already not that desirable. So the front office has been clowned time after time for being incompetent, and now they're putting all of these extras in the interview process. So you have a lot of people withdrawing from that head coach interview role or from that role. So we'll see what happens with the Cleveland Browns, but kind of crazy that this is even happening with the Browns. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who fills that role, because obviously it has to get filled. But I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. The Arizona Cardinals are still looking for a head coach as well. And the Las Vegas Raiders are still looking for a head coach as well. And I'm curious, man. So this is not on the record. This is not a report or anything. I just, want to throw it out here. This is just my own personal thoughts and my own personal take before anybody, runs with it. I think Brian Flores or Sean McDermott could be a great coach for the Raiders. Now, there's not a lot of positions that are very desirable right now. And out of the teams left between the Bills, Browns, Cardinals, Raiders, obviously Sean McDermott is not going to go back to the Bills. But out of the three teams of the Browns, Cardinals, and Raiders, I think the Raiders might be the best bet for him in terms of being able to turn around a franchise, just because they literally have the number one pick right now. And obviously they got to make some things happen on the offensive line and bringing in some receivers and also getting some defense. They got a lot of work to do, but they also have the salary cap to get it done. So it'll be interesting, but definitely wouldn't want to go to the Browns with their ownership and the way that front office has been moving. The Cardinals are not a terrible situation as well. I'm not too sure how much cap space they have, so it could be interesting, but Raiders might be the best job left out of head coaches at this point. So if Sean McDermott is going to continue to coach, he'll probably coach with the Raiders. I see that being the most desirable position left for head coaches at this time. So we'll see what happens there. Other than that, we have some Shedeur Sanders thing, because Shedeur Sanders, look, man, believe it or not, I kid you not, Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler. Shedeur Sanders made the Pro Bowl. I kid you not. I swear I swear to you, man. Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler. So there was a lot of injuries and a lot of people who are banged up. And with that happening, it so-called trickled down to Shedeur Sanders. Now, this is what the latest report's saying. Obviously, no Bo Nix, no Patrick Mahomes, no Daniel Jones. Joe Burrow is up and down. Drake May is going to the Super Bowl. He's playing in the Super Bowl, so he can't go to the Pro Bowl right now. And apparently this just trickled down to Shedeur Sanders, is what the reports are saying. I think it's just complete BS. This is a guy. Shedeur Sanders, 10 interceptions, 7 touchdowns. The man didn't even start the whole year. He barely even played. But yeah, he gets to the Pro Bowl. I think he threw 1,400 yards this year. That's it. But yeah, he's getting in the Pro Bowl. So it's, to me, at this point, look, man, I know NFL wants ratings. They want the clips. They want the likes, all of these things. They want the eyes of people to still get hype about the Pro Bowl. I understand that. But if you're going to factor people who are Pro Bowls based on popularity, then you just got to go from that point. Start bringing in the celebrities. Start bringing in all these other people who aren't really skill level of Pro Bowl, but they have a big following. Like, at this point, just go ahead, change it to that. Change it to the celebrity games, however you want to do it. Because now what the Pro Bowl used to mean, which is an all-star caliber player or an all-pro caliber type of player, the Pro Bowl has no value now. Or it has no value. The Pro Bowl has no true value now, and now it's just diminishing more and more year after year. And once they got rid of the Pro Bowl games and watered that down, the actual game where teams would play against each other, the Pro Bowl was already just diminished and watered down once they got rid of that. Before they completely butchered it, it was just beginning to be milked more and more. I mean, you couldn't tackle people. You couldn't even hit the quarterback. You couldn't do anything. And it became a safe haven where guys just really can't get hurt, which I understand. It's cool, whatever. So now they switch it to the games. And this is sometimes entertaining, sometimes it's not. It's more so for clips rather than people actually sitting down and watching it. But you just got to completely revamp it, because now the term a Pro Bowler or an all-pro player, it just doesn't really hold any weight if we're letting Shedeur Sanders in there, bro. Like, and I like Shedeur Sanders. I'm a big fan of him. I mean, I hope he continues to start and play better and do good and evolve. But this is just silly. It's silly noise to say Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler. And I'm sure somebody's going to be out there holding it to him and saying, oh, well, Shedeur is a Pro Bowler. He's a Pro Bowler. He got an all-pro under his belt. Yeah, that wasn't really earned. That wasn't earned. That's a very discredited Pro Bowl right there. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, look, man, there's some other stuff here. And this is more so on the NFC North and the NFC Championship game here between division rivals in the NFC West. This was a crazy game between the Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Seahawks won this game. Crazy matchup. 31 28-27, and I loved every second of this game, man. It was a battle from head to toe. I initially said last week on the end of the week episode that this game would come down to the wire, and I thought I was wrong because I said Seahawks will win as long as Matthew Stafford doesn't have an opportunity for a game-winning drive. Stafford did have that opportunity. I believe it was just over 30 seconds left with no timeouts, and they couldn't really get it done. Credit to the Seahawks defense, but this was a battle all around, man. Both quarterbacks pretty much threw for almost 400 yards. They went absolutely nuts. 3 touchdowns each from each quarterback. The run game was hitting for both quarterbacks, or for both teams. I'm sorry. It was magnificent. It was absolute cinema, and I enjoyed every second of it. One thing here that I did want to harp on is this game was very winnable for the Rams. Rams lost this game because they got outcoached and outplayed. There was times where the Rams weren't really clicking on the offensive end. I thought there was some iffy play calls on the offensive end at times with the Rams. I thought there was some questionable decisions at times with the Rams. Hence, you go for it on 4th down, you're in the red zone. I understand that 4th and 2 looks magically delicious, but bro, you got to take the points. You have to absolutely take those points. And I don't know what it is with NFL coaches not wanting to kick field goals anymore. And this is all Dan Campbell's fault. Yeah, Dan Campbell, this is your fault. This is your doing because you never want to kick a field goal on a big stage. And now you got a lot of teams really thinking about it and saying, okay, if we go for it, we win the game. And that's what a lot of teams are doing right now, and they're trying to just one-up each other. And this ended up ultimately hurting the LA Rams because they could have made this game even closer and possibly won this ball game. When you look at what they did, obviously there was multiple mistakes. I don't want to put one thing to credit why the Seahawks ended up winning this game, because there was a lot of different things. There was some bogus calls for that were in favor of the Rams. There were some bogus calls that were in favor of the Seahawks. It went both ways. However, the Rams visually, to me, made the most mistakes, which is what hurt them in this ball game, which is also why they lost this game. You had the questionable decision going for it on 4th and 2 in the red zone. You were down 27-31 at that time. You kick a field goal, and now the LA Rams are just down 1 point. And you can possibly still get the ball back, but instead of needing a touchdown, you can play just for field goal range, which is a little bit easier because now you can just bark at getting out of bounds when you make these little short passes and stuff. Yeah, you didn't have any timeouts, but this is something that could have really, really changed the way this game ended. And again, credit to the Seahawks for standing tall in a clutch moment of the game. They really did lock in and ultimately win that ball game and take that ball game. But another factor, not only the 4th and 2 that was questionable, you had the muffed punt that really helped the Seattle Seahawks put them in in goal line range or in the red zone. And that muffed punt really changed the factor of that game. It just changed the way that game was. And ultimately, it was back and forth, but the muffed punt, it made things so much easier for the Seahawks because you're back down at your own 20, you kick the field, or you punt the ball, and now you're at the other team's 20 because he just dropped the ball. So that also really, really did hurt the Rams. So that's 2 mistakes there from the Rams that I noticed immediately and that were just huge and monumental. However, Seahawks did have the taunting penalty. They had the taunting penalty, and they targeted the same guy and ended up giving up a touchdown, which hurt them as well. So it was back and forth. There was a lot of things that happened, but I can't help but to think the Rams are the team that made the most mistakes here. You had a couple drop passes also. And I don't think this game falls on one person, man. Like, this is where it's tough because I know fans of a certain team. I know fans of certain teams, really go in for their teams or blame certain guys. If a guy has a certain habit that he's been upholding all season, it's so quick and easy to blame, oh, it's him. He did this or he didn't play well. And then same with quarterbacks. Like when I see guys blame these quarterbacks for certain things that aren't in their control, I just can't do it. Like, I don't think this game completely falls on Stafford. I don't think this game completely falls on the guy who muffed the punt in the Seahawks red zone. I don't think it falls on one person. It's just over the course of the game, the Seahawks made less mistakes than the Rams did. And sometimes that's what it's going to come down to in terms of if you're going to win this ball game, is if you're going to make less mistakes. And credit to Sam Darnold as well, because Sam Darnold showed up and showed out, man. This is a guy where a lot of people had a question mark next to his name. They were wondering, okay, well, he collapsed in the playoffs. He's going to collapse again. We're just waiting for it. But yet they thrived. He thrived. He threw 3 touchdowns, almost 350 yards. Like, no interceptions. Like, he took care of the ball, and he did a damn good job. Only got sacked 3 times, and he didn't make any silly mistakes or nothing like that. So it was a very clean game. I loved what I seen here. And honestly, I think it's very interesting that for the Super Bowl that we have 2 top-tier teams. Like, I'm glad. Obviously, we didn't know who was going to go to the Super Bowl. It was kind of one of those years where anybody can win and anybody might go. But I'm glad it wasn't like an 8th seed team or a team that wasn't really good all year. It's debatable with the Patriots, but it's debatable with them. But ultimately, these are 2 teams who are well respected in the conference that they're in. Obviously, Patriots, they played a lot of elite talent defensively, and it just so happens that the NFC North is a little more well put together in terms of both sides of the ball and the competition that the Seahawks has faced. But the Seahawks did have a bye week 1, and they showed up in not week 1. I'm sorry, they had the bye week of the first round of the playoffs, and they showed up that second round in that divisional round and popped the 49ers. And then they came around again, played another division team, and the Rams ended up beating the Rams. So this is a team that definitely is well deserved on this Super Bowl trip, and I think it can get nasty for them, and I'm excited. And nasty in a good way is what I'm saying when they play the Patriots. But I just was very impressed with the brand of football they played, and I would just want to give credit to the OC, Clint Kubiak, finding ways to score. And man, that's a good team, man. Seahawks is a good team, and I think above all, we're in for a great matchup. Like, nonetheless, whatever people want to say about the Patriots, easy schedule. I'm on board saying the Patriots got an easy schedule too, and they capitalized from that by beating teams that they should have beaten in the playoffs as well, since some of them teams were handicapped and were throwing 5-6 interceptions, crazy. It was a lot of bad quarterback play in the AFC playoffs. I'll put it that way. But I still think it'll be a great Super Bowl. Obviously, the Rams and Seahawks was a tremendous game. Seahawks popped the 49ers, but they've been on it literally all game, and they get another week of rest. So it'll be cool to see what they do come Super Bowl. Definitely got the Seahawks winning this matchup, but it's a rematch of, I think it's Super Bowl 51, something like that. One of them old Super Bowls with the Seahawks and the Patriots. We get to witness it again, and this time, hopefully, it ain't no stupidity at the goal line unless it's in the Seahawks' favor. And yeah, I'll put it that way. But last time these 2 teams played in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady won. This was when the Seahawks were on the goal line, 1-yard line, and they did not hand it off to Marshawn Lynch, and they threw a pass instead, but it got intercepted. And yeah, man, that was the ball game. Patriots ended up winning another Super Bowl. So crazy, but look, man, we'll give you more on the Super Bowl projections and things like that probably next week for sure, because I just want to wait a little bit closer to the Super Bowl to start giving all the information and things like that. But I definitely got the Seahawks to win, and I ain't gonna be shy about that. But I think it will be a great game nonetheless. So look, man, that's all I got for you. So I appreciate you. You've been kicking it. You've been hanging with us, tuning in. We will be back, of course, later on next week, but I'm gonna leave on a positive note here. And the positive note for us today is just gonna be, be the light in a room full of darkness. That's all. I'm gonna just leave it at that. And this is actually coming from something I seen from my guy Jared. He's been on the show before, but I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. Be the light in a room full of darkness. That's all. So whatever room it is, and I ain't even gonna explain it, man. Accept it however you want to accept it. And other than that, man, look, that's all I got for you. So I appreciate it. We will be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.